Let's give a warm welcome to Rachel Gossett, who has come all the way from New Jersey. Come, girl.
You are so fat, so ugly, so hairy. No one will ever love you. You'll never have a boyfriend. Those were the words written on my desk in 7th grade in Mrs. Lott's class. Not only were they hugely written on my desk, there was also a cartoon drawing of this fat girl, ugly, wearing her school uniform with hairy legs. That was me. As I sat down, I noticed that the kids that did it, they were staring at me. They had their crooked smiles. I felt so mortified, ashamed, guilty, and completely embarrassed. Slim Fast wouldn't even work for you. I quickly had to take that eraser out. I erased it all off my desk. I didn't want anybody else to see. I didn't want the teachers to know. In fact, nobody knew that I was severely bullied that year. And there was the main ringleader. Her name's Danielle, and she threatened to kick my ass every day. As soon as the school bell ended for the day, I would run home, and I was in that fight or flight mode. Growing up, and especially at that time, I knew that my body was different, being Puerto Rican. The curves, the curly hair. I was a little bit heavier than those girls in my class, right? And all I wanted was to be skinny. I wanted to be like them. I wanted my hair straight and flowing. Right? So I thought the best way was that summer, restrict food from my diet. And that is when I began my journey with anorexia. I lost some weight, and people praised me for it. And that made me feel seen. It made me feel good. Right? This is exactly what I wanted. And as I continued with life, for the next 33 years, my mind just focused on food. From the moment I woke up in the morning to the time I went to bed at night. It was that constant battle with food. It wasn't until I was 21 years old and I looked at a photograph of myself. And I was like, damn, you look fat and disgusting. And that's when I went down that downward spiral of anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, and body dysmorphia. No one knew I was struggling. And I didn't share it with my family. I had my own challenges with mom and dad, right? And just didn't have that safe space. My mom was going through her own things. I was closer to her than my father, but she had bipolar disorder, so I really never knew what I was going to get with her. And she had a lot of autoimmune disorders. And can you guess what else she had? Eating disorders. So she didn't know. No one in the family knew. Friends didn't know. I lost all this weight. At one point, My lowest was 94 pounds, and I'm 5'3". Instead of people coming to me concerned, it's the opposite. They praised me. They're like, "You look great. You lost so much weight. I wish I were as skinny as you." Now, this was a time of the 90s and 2000s. Body positivity wasn't a thing. Right? There was body shaming everywhere on TV, socially. The thing to be was skinny. And that's what I had to have. And it took me a long time to get to this point of wanting to do something for myself, and my children were my inspiration, right? I'm just smiling because I see their beautiful faces, and knowing where I am today is for them. I found breathwork a little over a year ago. And during the Breath of Gold Facilitator program, I was able to do something I never thought imaginable. I was able to heal from 33 years of eating disorders and body dysmorphia. Thank you. That is how powerful breathwork is, and that you can heal too. Okay? Since then, I am a new person. I am resilient, I am joyous, beaming, beautiful, just like a sunflower. And during that journey, I was able to, in one session with Adrienne, get to the root cause of my traumas, right, and really excavate it. In that breathwork journey, I was faced with a lot of challenges from my parents. My father was physically and verbally abusive to my mother, and with me as well. It wasn't the physical abuse that scarred me, it was that verbal abuse. I was never good enough. Anything that I did, I could never live up to my father's expectations. And during that journey, I was able to see that and meet that with compassion and love. Now, the following week, I had another breathwork session with Adrienne. Now I really wanted to let it go. I'm done with this. And I was able to do that. During the journey, I started off dancing in this magical forest. Sparkles everywhere, it was gorgeous. But then all of a sudden, it just went pitch black. My father dropped down, then he was sucked into this black vortex. My mother dropped down, same thing happened. She was sucked into this black vortex. But I looked down and I noticed I was still tethered to my parents. This cord went into this black hole. Throughout the journey, the breathwork journey, there was this tribal track that started playing in the deepest part of the journey, where we release this primal sound, and then that's when I saw that cord get cut, and it got sucked into the black vortex, and I was finally free. I felt this energy leave my body. My body even moved. I was then greeted by my native ancestors, Puerto Rican ancestors, the Tainos. We were around this bonfire and we were dancing. And they said to me, "Rachel, you're healed." They wanted me to embrace my culture, to embrace my curves, to embrace my curly hair. They said, "Rachel, it is time. It's time for you now." They wanted me to start dancing sensually. The old Rachel would have said, "No way." But you know what? I embraced it and I did it and I moved and I felt the music. the beat of the drums. Now, this is what breathwork can do for you. It is such an amazing healing tool. And each of you have the power to heal yourself, layer by layer. Never doubt your potential. And I learned 3 lessons from this. The first lesson is, what does it truly mean to be seen? Doesn't mean you have to dress a certain way, your body should be a certain way, right? Doing what society tells you to do. Being seen means showing up authentically and true to who you are, not holding back. The second lesson that I learned is that it is so important to have a safe space and for each of you to know that you are worthy to have that safe space. I went through life not having that, but now I know that you need to have community, you need to have those close friends, and you need to have people that will accept you for who you are, that you can show up and say things on your heart and on your mind without any judgment. And lastly, the third lesson that I have learned, healing is possible. Right? Your body is so resilient. It can do anything you put your mind to it. And I learned that with breathwork. And I am so truly grateful and honored to be a part of Adrian's program and to get to where I am today, to have healed after 33 years of eating disorders and body dysmorphia. I thought this was something that I would have until the day I died, but I was wrong, right? So if there's anything I want you to remember this: healing is possible. And I am proof standing right here before you. Thank you.